The new piece basically details there is an amendment brought by Roger Marshall and Dick Durbin. This was one of J.D. Vance's priorities back when he was actually a senator before he became the vice president. This piece basically details how Main Street is suffering. There are small businesses that are suffering because of the gouging that Visa and MasterCard of the corporations are in capitalizing on Visa card master swaps and the fees that are going directly to these corporations that are robbing small businesses opportunities. And these amendments are this amendment specifically of the Genius Act basically concentrates on having the power and concentrating over from corporations having this benefit and giving it back to small businesses and encouraging corporations not to necessarily have the benefits that they've had for so long. I mean, every company in the world, every banking firm, everybody uses credit card swapping machines, and Visa and Mastercard have taken advantage of this over other credit card companies, over small businesses. And what this amendment does in this Genius Act bill, it will give power back to small businesses, and this corporatist mindset of giving the benefits basically to monopolies in Visa and MasterCard over other credit card companies, giving the power back to small businesses, giving the power back to even smaller credit card companies and even those like PayPal, Venmo, and others, the opportunity to create an equal playing field and going away from the corporatist mindset that the current credit card master swaps have over the credit card business in the United States.
So this is huge because the bill itself, what it's doing is it's giving the opportunity and ability, really, I think, because the average consumer, one of the things that a lot of people miss out when it comes to credit cards is saying, look, I need to do this because in America, unfortunately, because of the ravages of inflation and so many other problems of the economy during the Biden regime, guess what? American debt limits right now, or debt levels right now, I should say, are actually higher than they've been in years, possibly the highest in all of history. So, Kenny, walk us through the current situation that's driving this legislation and why you're seeing Republicans reach across the aisle on something like this.
Well, I think this is the same mindset that the American nationalist populist movement has created in the Republican Party. No longer are we catering to corporations like Visa and like Mastercard. And look, I use Visa. I've got a debit card that uses Visa. Not necessarily that I hate that corporation, but the current mindset and the current infrastructure that is the credit card corporations that are the small businesses using these credit cards. We're giving these unnecessary benefits to big corporations that want monopolies over this business and over this sector of American business. And what this is doing is it's helping facilitate the idea that the Republican Party is no longer one that is going to cater to corporations. It's not longer going to take big money from donors from these corporations, the CEOs, the big bankers, those that are catering to Visa, to MasterCard. We hear all the time about all these other corporations in media, in business, in economics that are taking advantage of American workers. They want to outsource jobs overseas. Visa and MasterCard are doing the same thing, only with these credit card laws that are currently in place and taking advantage of small businesses, taking advantage of banks, and taking advantage of other credit card corporations by getting these unnecessary benefits. And this creates an equal playing field. The Republican Party, for so long, wanted this libertarian mindset of we're going to cut taxes and we're going to give corporate tax cuts and we're going to always side the corporations over the American people. We're going to always side the corporations over small businesses. But this is a step in the right direction. This is one of J.D. Vance's main priorities in the U.S. Senate before he became the vice presidential nominee and the eventual vice president. And continuing this with people like Josh Hawley, Roger Marshall, Bill Hagerty, and others, they're going to be able to facilitate this new nationalist populist mindset into the Republican Party on economics, on trade, and on an anti-corporatist mindset when it comes to American business.
Well, and so what is it about this legislation that makes you label it nationalist populist? Why is this a populist piece of legislation?
Well, I think that economic populism is becoming very popular in the Republican Party. We always talk about, especially with cutting taxes, with giving benefits to corporations. I think that this piece of legislation shows that the Republican Party is asking the American people, asking small business owners and those who have investments in other credit card corporations or other credit card businesses that we don't just care about the two monopolies that are controlling the credit card business. We care about those that are getting a holistic benefit, benefiting all corporations that are using credit cards, and benefiting small businesses that use credit card swapping machines. We are going to ensure that this fair ground is given to anybody and not just to the corporatist mindset. And populism is the will of the American people. Nationalism is the will of the American people, and making sure that the American people who own small businesses, those who use MasterCard, Visa, and other credit card corporations for their purchases, it's creating an equal playing field for those that are using these swap machines. So if we are able to do this, this creates an anti-corporatist mindset. It at least creates a fair playing ground, and it shifts the Republican Party to a new idea that we're not just going to side with corporations when it comes especially to causing harm to small businesses. So this
Well, I
legislation is going
think
to do with this amendment.